Good morning, children. Hope you all are doing well and welcome back to our online class of computer applications. So, today we'll be starting chapter 2. So, chapter 2 is about class as the basis of all computations. That means in a programming, class play a very vital role. Without class, basically Java programming is not at all possible. Class is a pillar base of a programming in Java. So we'll be learning once again what exactly class does. What point we know in class? First point, user defined data type. Second point, syntax for creating object. Syntax for creating object. Okay, so basically these are the two important points. So what is class? Class, user defined data type, syntax for creating objects. Some more additional if I want to go, then what will be the point? Is a factory of an object. Single class, multiple object can be created. Isn't it? Class is also a fact known as factory of an object. Single class, multiple object. Now let us come to the part of class declarations. We write like this: class P1. Class P1. So here this class is a keyword and P1 is a user defined name. Okay, so these are known as attribute also. The question comes, what are the three attributes required for class declarations? But we can see only two attributes. One is class keyword and another is user defined class name. So what is the third one? The third one is the access specifier. Okay, third one is what? Access specifier. Access specifier, total we have four. Four access specifier are available in Java: public, private, protected and default. Once again I am saying public, private, protected and default. Public we have to mention with the keyword public. Same way for private and protected also. But for default we don't have to mention, we don't have to type or we don't have to write the default keywords, because default keyword is something else used in switch case. So here default access specifier means nothing, when we are not writing anything, when we are not mentioning the variable or data type as public, private, protected. In that case automatically it will accept or it will be like known as default access specifier. So that is also attributes. So access specifier, default access specifier, class keyword and user defined class name. So children, these are the point about class. In the same way, if I want to write some point about object, so what are the point? Let us see. Object. Point number one, variable of class. If class is a user defined data type, then obviously object is the variable of class. Point number two, instance of a class. Object is also known as instance. Instance means part of a class. Okay, instance means part of a class. Without class keyword, object is next to impossible for creations. To create object, we need a class. Okay, each object, as object is a real entity, each object possesses state, behavior and characteristic. Question may comes, what are the attributes of object? So that is state, behavior and characteristics. Each object, maybe they belongs to a same class or maybe different class. They differs in their state, characteristic and behavior. So children, understood about class and object? Okay, so see, after class and object, next we need to understand is data types. So see here, data types. Now what exactly is data types? Data types are actually used to provide informations that what sort of value a variable will store. As variable is a container, it is used to store some value. Question arises, what kind of value? Whether that is integer value, decimal values, characters, alphabets, symbols, okay, group of character. So what sort of value a variable will store, that is decided, or that information is given by data types. In Java we have two different types of data types: primitive, non-primitive. See here, primitive and non-primitive. So children, how many type of data type we have? Two type, primitive and non-primitive. Primitive means already made, predefined. We are not creating that sort of data types. They are already defined in Java. Simply we need to use. But they are case sensitive as they are keyword. We have to follow capitalize and small letters difference. Okay. Non-primitive is user defined. That means non-primitive data type are defined by us. We create that for our benefits. Okay, so now come to the primitive part. There are total 8 primitive data type. How many are there? 8. What are they? Let me list out. So int, it is for integer. Okay, int means integer. Int, short, long, then float, char, then boolean, byte, and double. See, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So there are total 8 different types of primitive data types. Int stand for integer. Integer means the value without decimal value. That means without point. It can be negative integer, it can be positive integer. And int is a keyword, int in small letter you have to write. Second, I wrote short. Short and long is a part of int only. Short and long is part of int. Short for less number of character means digit, and long for more number of digit. Okay, because int can hold only up to 4 digit. More digit you want, above 4, then you have to take long. Float. Float is a short form of floating point. That means value with point. Decimal values are stored with float. Char is a character, short form of character. Single letter but enclosed inside single inverted comma. Okay, single like A, B, C, any alphabets. Even digit, numbers, anything but single letter. Enclosed in single inverted comma. Boolean, it stores either true or false, yes or no, 0 or 1. Okay, so default value of boolean is false. Question comes, okay, name the default value of boolean, that is false. Byte. Byte can store up to 8 bits. Byte can store up to 8 bit. It also falls in integer data types. Double. As its name says, double. Double means it can store both integer as well as float value. So in what situation we use double? Sometime like a divided by b. Okay, division methods. So when you divide a by b, chances is there, probability is there. Our answer may come in point or may not come in point. Depend on the user values. Suppose the value of a is 4 and value of b is 2. 4 divided by 2, what is the answer? 2. That is integer. Now let us take another way. If the value of a is 5 and value of b is 2, 5 divided by 2, 2.5. So answer is in float. So there is a probability to come answer either in integer or in float. So in such type, in such program, we use double data types. Okay, it is also even used for mathematical functions. As in the last chapter, I have explained about maths functions. Okay, there are so many different type of math functions. So whenever you find that you need to use math function and you need a container or variable to store the value, take the variable as double data type. Okay, so for division and for mathematic functions we use double data types. So how many primitive data types we have? 8. Int, sort, long, float, char, boolean, byte and double. Now let us come to non-primitive data types. Non-primitive means user defined, we make. So one best example of non-primitive is, just now I have explained, that is class. Class is a user defined data type. Okay. Another is array. Array itself is a chapter, okay, will be coming later on. So array is also used to store so many multiple element, similar type. So it is also one sort of data type only, which modify and multiple element can be stored together in a box, means index wise. So class and array, let us take two example only. Class and array are the example of non-primitive data type. So children, once again I am saying, what is data types? What kind of value or what type of value variable will store, that information is given by data type. It is of two types, primitive, non-primitive. Primitive, inbuilt; non-primitive, user defined. Primitive, how many type? 8 type. What are they? Int, sort, long, float, char, boolean, byte, double. Non-primitive, user defined, we make for our purpose, like class name is given by us. Same way array name will be given by us. Even many more are there, like interface, structure, so many are there. But we will take two examples, that is class and array. Clear children? There are in total 8 primitive data types. Each data type, they occupy a certain storage area, which are mentioned as bytes. Bit is the smallest memory unit of computer, which can be either 0 or 1, and 8 bits makes 1 byte, and 1024 byte make 1 kilobyte. In the same way, megabyte, gigabyte and all are there. So for primitive data type, we have to mention the storage area in bytes. Byte occupy 1 byte, that's why name is byte only. Sort 2 byte, int 4 byte, long 8 bytes, float 4 bytes, double 8 bytes, char 2 bytes, boolean not precisely defined, that is 0 or 1 both. Okay, so it can be bit, not in byte. So these are the 8 primitive data types and their size in bytes. It's very important, you need to remember this one. Sometime the question may ask that integer data type occupy how much storage area in bits. So when the question is in bit and it's 4 byte, so you have to multiply by 8. So the answer will be 32 bit. Okay, because 1 byte consists of 8 bit. Next, you can see that each primitive data type, they have certain default value. Now, what is default value? Default values are used to initialize the variables. When you declare the variable, you need to initialize them. Okay, and initialization is always done with the default values. Even the question comes that what is the default value of byte or what is the default value for char. Okay, so you need to remember this one. So byte default value is 0, byte, sort, int, they are the part of integer only, so default value is 0. Long, it is also part of integer, but it can store up to like 8 digits, so 0L, capital L should be there. Float 0.0f, the values in decimals. Double 0.0d, it can hold both, double can hold both integer as well as float values. Char /u, then 0000, 4 zeros are there, enclosed inside single inverted comma. Characters are always enclosed inside single inverted comma. and when group of characters are there, that becomes string. String is also one special type of data type. It does not fall in primitive or non-primitive. It is the, like you can say, the intermediate part of primitive as well as non-primitive data type. It is said as derived data types. Okay, string, double inverted commas are there, and group of characters can be stored together. Char only for single character, and default value is /u then 40. In storage area 2 byte. Boolean, as it can store true value as well as false value, but the default value it stores means when we are not initializing, by default it contain false value. So for Boolean the default value is false, and false means 0, true means 1. Okay, sometimes the question may comes in integer case, like when there are value like 0 or 1, then what is the default value Boolean stores? So you have to tell the answer, or you have to write the answer as 0, because 0 indicates false, 1 indicates true. So default value is false, so answer will be 0. So is this clear? So this is all about data types.